But even those words, which are actually incredibly positive, benevolent, they get filtered through that existing lens of suspicion and fear. They could easily sound like fragments of a much bigger deception, part of some manipulation. The emotional impact of just seeing those two together, secretly talking low, it would be devastating. It seems to confirm her worst fears. It really challenges our understanding of loyalty when it's seen through such a thick, distorting veil of incomplete, misleading information. It shows the misinformation effect where wrong info or perceived info overguides reality.
The narrator is just frozen, immobilized. Her mind is reeling, a storm of emotions. My head was screaming, was she betraying me? Was my best friend and my father hiding something from me? It's not just a question, it's an outcry. Raw hurt, confusion, existential dread. The image she paints, the dark cafe, the silhouettes of Sarah and her dad talking low, maybe sharing what looks like a secret laugh. It adds this unbearable layer of dramatic irony. From her perspective, it looks sinister, threatening, confirmation of a plot. But from the true perspective, it's a scene of love, collaboration, a beautiful, selfless act. Discovering that meeting, especially with her dad involved, that feels like the ultimate punch to the gut, a complete shattering of her inner circle. It's the kind of moment that, in the heat of it all, feels like the end of everything. The mental anguish, the adrenaline, the heartbreak, overwhelming, pushing her right to the edge. And then the moment of reckoning, the confrontation. It had to happen. The story culminates in the truth. A scene just dripping with raw emotion and this life-altering revelation. The narrator, she just can't hold it back anymore. Weeks of hurt, anger, paranoia, it all comes pouring out. She confronts Sarah that same night, her voice shaking with fury. How could you? You've been lying to me for weeks. Meeting with my dad. Do you realize how this looks? Do you have any idea what I've been thinking, what I've been feeling? Her voice cracking, filled with accusation, perceived betrayal. You feel the depth of her suffering, the violation of trust. This wasn't a calm chat. It was an explosion. Weeks of fear, paranoia, heartbreak finally bursting out. That feeling of being blindsided, having her trust broken by the two people closest to her. It hit the breaking point. She needed answers. Now,
What's truly fascinating and so emotionally resonant here is the sheer force of that confrontation. The narrator's raw vulnerability. She's not just asking questions timidly, she's making a full-on accusation, carrying all that emotional weight. And Sarah's immediate response, her eyes filling with tears, her voice just a whisper, "I was trying to help you." That instantly signals a completely different reality, a seismic shift. This is the pivotal moment, breathtaking really, where the entire story just flips, irrevocably. All that evidence that pointed so strongly to betrayal suddenly gets reinterpreted, recontextualized through this lens of profound altruism, selfless love. If we link this back to psychology, it powerfully highlights how completely our interpretation depends on context, and how easily we misjudge intent when that crucial context is missing, when we're blinded by our own fear-based narratives. Sarah's tears at this moment, they aren't just sadness at being accused unfairly, they're likely also immense relief, finally being able to unburden herself. Plus, the sheer emotional strain of carrying that huge benevolent secret for so long, it's narrative reframing in real time. Everything changes meaning.
and then, like the dam bursting, the floodgates open, and then the truth spilled out. Sarah, through her own tears, explains everything, meticulously lays out the months-long secret. She'd been working with the narrator's dad for months, a silent alliance. He had secretly applied for this prestigious full scholarship for the narrator, an incredible opportunity for her future without her knowing. And Sarah was his trusted partner in the plan, his covert operative, basically. The late-night texts, the secret meetings, the evasiveness, Plan B, every single piece of evidence that looked so damning. It was actually part of this grand, loving surprise, all designed for the narrator's benefit, to secure her future. This total inversion of meaning, where every perceived betrayal was actually an act of selfless love, proactive care, is truly breathtaking. It transforms the whole story, from deception and heartbreak to profound sacrifice, a testament to how far friends will go.
This revelation just raises such an important, complex question for all of us, doesn't it? How do we reconcile that intense, searing pain of feeling betrayed with the overwhelming relief of finally understanding true, selfless intent? What's so powerful here is the stunning realization that actions which look secretive, manipulative, even hurtful, were actually born from the deepest care, protective instincts, a desire for the narrator's well-being, Sarah's tears during that confrontation. Yeah, not just the sting of accusation, undoubtedly also relief. And maybe the sheer exhaustion of carrying that secret. This secret sacrifice part really shines. It shows that sometimes the most profound acts of love require incredibly difficult choices. A willingness to be misunderstood, maybe even seem like the bad guy temporarily. It forces us to rethink our usual definition of loyalty, doesn't it? Expanding it beyond just transparency to include this deeper, sacrificial kind of commitment. It's a powerful lesson in emotional intelligence and perspective taking.
The story then moves into its powerful conclusion, the lesson. A really profound moment of reflection, personal growth for the narrator. Right after the truth comes out, in that raw, emotional aftermath, she describes being absolutely crushed by guilt. Can you imagine that feeling? The suffocating weight of having doubted so deeply, accused so harshly, even spied on someone. Someone who was silently, diligently fighting for your future, pouring energy into making things better for you. The narrator had interpreted every veiled look, every nervous answer, as proof of betrayal. When really, Sarah was showing extraordinary commitment, loyalty, love. The internal struggle, that cognitive dissonance again, must have been immense, realizing how completely devastatingly wrong she'd been. It's a humbling moment. Agonizing almost, a self-reckoning.
What's really striking is that immediate pivot, isn't it? From intense anger and betrayal to profound, crushing guilt. This isn't just about intellectually getting the facts. It's a deep emotional reckoning. Misjudging someone you love so much, so badly. The raw realization that all she had ever done was fight for me in silence. That's such a profound insight into how selflessness and altruism often work. Unseen. If we connect this to the bigger picture of relationships, it teaches us something invaluable. Love and support don't always show up neatly, predictably, transparently. In fact, maybe they rarely do. It fundamentally challenges our assumptions about what support and care should look like. Sometimes the most protective acts involve hidden effort, risk, even perceived deception. And that's incredibly hard for the person on the receiving end to understand without the full picture. It raises important questions about our own biases, our assumptions, those mental shortcuts we take when we have incomplete information about people close to us.
And this leads to the biggest lesson, the one that sticks. Never let paranoia blind you to the people who truly care. It's such a stark, powerful reminder. How easily fear, suspicion, lack of information can just twist our perception of reality, lead us to make terrible judgments about the most important people in our lives. The narrator openly admits it. She doubted her best friend, accused her unfairly, spied on her, all because she couldn't see past the secrecy to the loving intention underneath. It's a deeply humbling moment of self-awareness. Confronting her own fallibility, her capacity for misjudgment, the destructive power of her own anxiety. A hard truth, for sure, but one that ultimately made her stronger, you'd think.
That specific lesson is so important because it speaks directly to a universal human tendency. And maybe it's even more pronounced now, in our information-saturated world. Information is constantly flying at us, right? Often fragmented, out of context, overwhelming. It's incredibly easy to jump to conclusions, especially when our emotions are running high or anxiety kicks in. The narrator's journey from deep suspicion to clear understanding, it's a powerful testament to the absolute necessity of seeking the full truth before making those big, potentially relationship-ending judgments. And the ending of the story, it's poignant, beautiful. It emphasizes the strength, the resilience of their bond. And Sarah, she's still my best friend, my sister. And now I trust her even more because she proves she would do anything, even lie to me if it meant I could have a better future. See, that's not just restored trust, it's deeper, more mature, resilient, forged in the fire of misunderstanding and revelation. It challenges us, doesn't it, to consider that loyalty can wear surprising faces, even counterintuitive ones. And that true love often involves sacrifices we might never get, never comprehend until the whole story comes out.
Wow, what an incredible journey we've just taken. Through all those complex layers, friendship, suspicion, and ultimately this profound hidden act of love. We started with a friendship that felt totally unbreakable, watched it fray, almost shatter under the weight of secrets or perceived secrets, only to discover, with this breathtaking clarity, that those secrets were actually a silent sacrifice, a meticulously planned gift for a better future. The narrator's certainty about her bond wasn't just tested by doubt, it was profoundly challenged, only to be reaffirmed, strengthened beyond measure by this amazing truth. It's just such a powerful story about how misleading our perceptions can be without the full picture, and how vital it is to consider unseen motivations.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the universal stuff, this story truly highlights that knowledge is most valuable, most transformative when you get the full context. It absolutely encourages critical thinking about how we interpret what others do, especially when their actions don't neatly fit our expectations of openness. The core lesson, the enduring one, is that not every secret is a betrayal. Sometimes actions that look deceptive, distant, maybe even hurtful, they actually come from the deepest care, protective instincts, an intention to shield or surprise or ultimately benefit someone they love. It challenges our first, often simplistic ideas about loyalty, expands our understanding beyond just openness to include this deeper, more nuanced, sometimes sacrificial commitment. It really is about understanding the why just as much as the what.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting and personal for you listening. This whole story raises a huge question for you to think about. Have you ever been in a situation where you totally misjudged someone you loved? Someone whose actions screamed betrayal, but then you found out later, maybe much later, that their real intentions were completely different, maybe even done for you, for your benefit or protection. What really stands out to you from this story? About trust, communication, the power of a friend's hidden sacrifice. Was it how easily that paranoia crept in? Or the shock of that discovery moment? Or maybe the overwhelming relief when the truth finally came out? Just take a second to reflect on how easily we can build these compelling but totally false stories of betrayal in our heads when key information is missing, even if it's withheld for the most loving reasons. How often do we jump to the worst conclusion just because we don't have all the pieces?
And consider this, maybe as a final thought to chew on. In this age of instant judgment, social media snapshots, constant information overload, how often do we really let our paranoia, our biases, or just incomplete info blind us to the genuine good intentions of people who truly care about us? We seem so quick, almost compulsively quick sometimes, to fill in the blanks with our worst fears rather than just pausing, taking a breath, seeking the deeper truth that's often way more complex. And what might we gain? What profound benefits, personally and in our relationships, could come from consciously pausing, actively seeking the full truth, choosing to give people the benefit of the doubt, or at least the real chance to explain themselves, before we let suspicion and assumptions corrode those invaluable bonds we hold so dear? It's really a call for more empathy, maybe more patience, and just a deeper understanding of why people do the things they do.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into a story that's a powerful reminder, isn't it? To look beyond the surface, question our first reactions, and seek the hidden truths. It's a testament to the extraordinary, often unseen sacrifices people make for those they cherish, and the profound lessons we learn when our fears turn into understanding and maybe even gratitude. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and always, always try to keep an open mind.